Alright, welcome back. Today we're breaking down the trailer for the season finale of It Welcome to Derry. We made it. This is the last one. If you haven't yet, please take a quick second, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it. We're starting off in Dick's room and he's losing it. After having talked to the dead war chief in the black spot, all the dead bodies and ghosts can see him. They're haunting him now and the sound is just overwhelming. Leroy walks in and asks what he's doing. He's drunk with a gun in his hand. He can't take it no more. He's thinking about punching his own one-way ticket to a dirt nap. Next we cut to Pennywise riding in his cart, playing a tuba and tapping his foot to the beat. He's surrounded by the fog. Or the mist maybe? Let's not forget about that crazy theory. Dick is going through it. His face is covered in sweat. His head has to be pure chaos on the inside. Next we see Marge, Lily, and Ronnie inside that same fog. They appear to be looking at a wall full of missing children posters. We hear Pennywise singing in the background, and then it cuts to him, still covered in blood and inside what might be the cave he crash landed in, but I also think it could be the inside of his car. It would be different than what we've seen in previous movies, but I don't think that means it's off the table. Next we see another shot of that dense fog rolling in through the city. It's completely taking over. We get a close-up of Halloran's eye, and then it transitions into Pennywise's eye. Now this would be some pretty crazy editing if they did it just for the trailer. So it makes me think Dick and Pennywise are going to have some kind of psychic battle in the last episode, which is going to be really cool if it plays out that way, because these are two characters that we know make it. We've already seen them in the future, we know they don't die. So if they go at it, it's going to be crazy to see how it ends. Dick might win the battle this time, but he definitely doesn't win the war, because we know Pennywise comes back in 27 years. Pennywise is still singing in the background about seeing and tasting beautiful faces. His voice is so creepy, I love it. Then we see a close-up of Will's missing poster with blood splattered all over it. Ronnie's holding it as Lily looks on and says it took Will. Now it's safe to say that Charlotte and Leroy didn't put these wanted posters up. So let's pop off some theories. I think the fog that's taking over Derry could be a complete illusion that Pennywise is constructing. All the wanted posters, along with Will's, aren't real. It's just one huge vision he's producing, and he has the entire town trapped in it. And I think different people could be seeing different things. Not necessarily within their small group, but like it could be terrorizing two different groups of people in two different places, two different ways at the same time. I could be wrong, but that's the fun of it. Who do you think I am? What do you want from me? Next we see Dick back in his room again. He jolts his head to the left and there's a dead nurse at the foot of his bed, staring at him. Then in the background you can see a creepy white hand come around the corner. And we've already seen the continuation of this shot in the previous trailer, when the dead bald guy pops out. So Dick's being surrounded by ghosts that can see him again. They're coming for him. He's continuing to have a vision in his room. It looks like he's deep in it now. Then it cuts to a bloody pair of shoes levitating off the ground. Now we know this is Patty, the Patty Cakes, and a bunch of other students based on the trailers we've already seen. They get trapped inside the school gym, Pennywise corners them, and they get taken by the deadlights. But we don't know whose blood that is on Patty's shoe, so I'm sure we're gonna get at least one gruesome death before they get taken. It would be pretty wild if Pennywise decided to attack the school during the school day. He would eat so many kids. Now that I say that, the fact the tribal council pointed out the number of people that have died so far, and it seemed kinda low compared to the book, where in the Black Spot fire over 60 people died just in the fire, but in the show it was only 23. So I wonder if there's gonna be a huge school massacre to pump those numbers up.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Next we see a random lady in town with a creepy Pennywise smile, looking out the window as fog floods the streets. Pennywise is still singing in the background. It's the same scene as before that I said might be his cave or inside his car, but now I'm gonna add in a third option. It might be the school gym, and he's on stage singing to the kids before he kills one of them. That's why they try to escape, and that's where the blood on the shoe comes from. That seems a little more plausible, but what do I know? Now we get to the quick cuts and the editing picks up pace. We see Lily, Marge, and Ronnie running through the woods, dagger still firmly in Lily's hand. She's never letting anybody else touch that thing. We see Fuller and a military crew looking through binoculars. They're in the fog too. The trees in the background make me think they're at the dig site or maybe another spot just outside the woods. Charlotte is inside her house, angry, and hitting someone who we can all only assume is Leroy. He told her this was over, he was wrong, and she's definitely gonna blame him for all of it. Now we get a close-up of Lily's legs. I think they're Lily's legs at least. And she's following a trail of blood, but not just following it, she's walking straight through it. The steps on Pennywise's cart drop down, and the fog is crazy thick surrounding it. It seems like the closer you get to Pennywise, the thicker the fog gets. Next we see Dick smashing something in his room. I watched this over and over, frame by frame, and the only thing I can come up with is I think it's a phone. In one frame it looks like a receiver's in his right hand, and in another we can see a little squiggly cord. And I think he's holding the other part of the phone in his left hand. Now after last episode, we know Pennywise can use phones. He called Will before he took him. So there's a solid chance Pennywise calls Dick and messes with him over the phone. The three girls are in the woods and it looks like we're about to have something revealed to us, but the camera cuts away just before we see what they're looking at. The final Pennywise confrontation? Then we see another shot of the fog, but this time it's sweeping over the river. Does that mean Pennywise is escaping Derry? He might. I don't think he does, but if he does briefly before he gets trapped again, that would be crazy to see. Pennywise is slow-mo running through the fog towards the camera. Then we see him grab Marge's leg, pulling her into the fog. We've seen that shot in another trailer already, so I'm pretty sure it's still Marge. Next we see inside the ice cream truck, it's Charlotte, Will, Rose, and Daniel. So they got Will back, but they all look terrified at whatever it is they're seeing. The military is firing their rifles at what I'm assuming is Pennywise. I'm sure that'll stop him. Boom. Leg shot. Show's over. Pennywise gets an infection and dies of sepsis. That's how they stop him. We see Ronnie, Lily, and Marge running away from the ice cream truck and either into or past the back of Pennywise's cart. Rose is horrified. She's been completely emotionless this entire season, so to see this look of fear on her face is kind of startling. Whatever she sees has to be terrifying. My guess is since we know the ice cream truck is near Pennywise's cart, he walks out after the stairs drop down, and he's disguised as some horrific creature from Rose's past that only she recognizes. Next, we see a blood-covered Pennywise scream, "So long, losers!"
So long, losers!
Cool nod to the OG Losers Club. We then see a continuation of the shot from earlier, and Marge gets dragged off into the fog, dropping her glasses. Next, we see Leroy holding a gun with the deadlights coming for him, but we know he has no fear, literally incapable of it because of brain damage. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when the deadlights don't affect him. Cut to a shot of Charlotte, Hank, and one of the native council members. They're all armed and she's screaming while Hank stands there looking cool and unbothered. Next, we see Pennywise Spartan kicking someone inside of his trailer, but he's not covered in blood, so I think this could be some kind of flashback or maybe part of the battle inside of Dick's mind. We can't tell who he's kicking, so it could definitely be Dick. It makes even more sense if it ties into the next shot because we see Halloran screaming inside of his room and there's a mouth inside of his mouth. They're both screaming. So that has to be some kind of battle with Pennywise or something more than just simply seeing dead people. I think he might confront Pennywise in his head somehow and save the kids. Well, at least some of the kids, or maybe one of the kids. Then the last shots we get before the finale is a bloody armed Pennywise walking his fingers up to the same intercom that Shaw was using in the last episode. The same way he walked his fingers up and down that box inside Dick's head before he ripped the lid off. That's gonna be some crazy poetic justice if he shows up at the airbase and kills all the idiots that released him. Okay, now it's prediction time. Like I said a second ago, I think Halloran is gonna play a big role in saving the kids, or at least some of them. He almost left them behind in the black spot, which got Richie killed. I don't think he's gonna let something like that happen again. However, there's also no way that all these kids are gonna have happy endings. We know that it lives on to have another cycle, so he's gonna win in the long run. I think Lily's gonna survive these events, but I don't think she's gonna be okay. We can already see her sanity slipping. If she survives this like I think she will, she's gonna end up back in Juniper Hill, which would play directly into another theory I've been hearing a lot about, which is that she's Bev's mom. They've hinted at their similarities all season. They both confided in Mrs. Kirsch, they both looked down the drains, and Bev's dad, Alan, was a janitor at Juniper Hill. That's exactly how they would meet. Now in the Red Band trailer, there's a scene that we haven't seen any hints of anywhere else. And when you look at it from this light, it makes a lot more sense now. We see inside a hospital room that looks like Juniper Hill, and a woman, who I think is Lily, has decided to permanently clock herself out. You can see Alan crying on the floor, and the girl that looks exactly like Bev comforting him from behind. Her clothes, her hair, his uniform, it all adds up. Speaking of children theories, after Richie sacrificed himself for Marge, there's no way she doesn't survive. I think she lives, goes on to have a son, names him Richie, and voila, Richie Tozier. Thick glasses just like she has. It's all starting to add up. Now I'm pretty sure Will and Leroy live. They kinda have to. We've already seen them in future movies. Plus if Leroy makes it, that would play into the theory that I mentioned in my breakdown for the last episode. This whole show is kinda like The Princess Bride, where an old Leroy on his deathbed is telling the story to his grandson Mike, and that's how he learns about the black spot. Which would be really cool, because in the book, that's exactly how Mike learns about the black spot. His grandfather tells him on his deathbed. I don't think Hank and Charlotte are safe. And based on that shot we saw of them standing with the native council member at the end, with guns, I think that could be their last stand or where they die at. If Ronnie dies, Hank has nothing to live for. And I could see Charlotte sacrificing herself for the greater good at the drop of a hat. She lives for trying to save people, which would be the exact opposite of what you'd normally expect. If one of Will's parents is going to sacrifice themselves to save him, you'd expect it to be Leroy, the fearless military man who struggles with his work-life balance. But I think it might be Charlotte. Or, if Hank is lucky enough to survive, how crazy would it be if they just pin all these murders on him? He's supposed to be dead. If the cops find him surrounded by a bunch of bodies again, and then Bowers comes forward and says he was at the Black Spot fire, there's no way he doesn't end up in Shawshank. On the bright side though, we still got a shot at our Andy and Red cameos.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Lastly, I think Rose and most of the tribal council members die as well, but Daniel's gonna live on. I think he's the old guy that teaches Mike the ritual of Chud. I can't believe it's almost over. There's only one episode left and we're never gonna see these characters again. Now, to get a little personal, this show is always gonna hold a special place in my heart. It indirectly caused me to start my YouTube channel. I was already planning on doing something similar to this, but I didn't know what or how to start or when to start. I found out the show was coming out like 2 days before it started. Said screw it, recorded my first episode, and here we are. Anyone who's been here from the beginning, thank you so much. If you've made it this far, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you next week for the breakdown of the season finale. Thanks for watching.